So good morning, everyone. This is Jacob. The alias next to my profile says Susnet Info, but this is Jacob Schweitzer from Max Planck Institute Magdeburg. And I welcome you to our first webinar on digital tools for the Max Planck Sustainability Network. Could someone just write briefly in the chat whether you can hear me? Perfect. Thank you, David. Okay, nice. Okay, I don't want to talk too much. And actually, it will be Evelyn from the Max Planck Institute in Leipzig, Tanguy from Tübingen, and me who will give a short introduction on various tools. After each slot, after each session, we will have some time for question and answers from you. In fact, you should be able to switch on your microphones. So we will do it like this. You can either use Slido to post questions, or you like to ask Tanguy to start with the introduction to BigBlueButton. I will switch off my own video and I invite Tanguy to switch on his video.
Hi everyone, sorry for the delay. So I'm also going to start recording from BigBlueButton so that we can use this tutorial session afterwards. So you should see like now a small notification that the session is being recorded. So this will appear every time we do this. So BigBlueButton will let you know whenever the session is being recorded. Okay. So first of all, I noticed that quite many people joined actually without their microphone. So I will start sharing my screen to show you how you can do things if you want to actually join with the microphone and be back here. So I will take the presenter and start sharing my screen. Just give me a second. All right. So now my screen should appear for you. So obviously, since I'm sharing BigBlueButton, then you can see everything demultiplied. This is not very handy, so I'll just put this window to hide it, such that you actually don't have this annoying video on there. So I join with the microphone. So you can see here I have my my icon with the microphone. If you joined audio only, you would have the headset icon instead. So if you want to switch and join with the microphone, you can just click on it. Then you select leave audio, and then the icon becomes a crossed phone, and then you can click on it again and then choose the microphone. So if you do so, then you will be prompted an echo test just to check that your sound is fine, and if everything works, then you're back in with the microphone, so you can ask questions. So whenever you're not talking, please mute your microphone so that we avoid having a lot of background noise during the presentation. Okay, so. You can also see whoever is talking. There is this icon with the name of the speaker on top, and then so BigBlueButton has the following setting. So you have the list of users on the far left panel, and then you can have a second bar here with various tools. So either here the public chat. That you can see here, so you can write to everybody for everybody to see here, or you can also start private chats with some users. So for instance, if I want to say hello to Evelyn, I can just start the private chat here, and only Evelyn will receive this message, and I can see like the private chats that I started on top here. Okay, so that's for the chat. We also have share notes that you can use instead of the chat. So maybe here, so just to show you, Evelyn responded. So the share notes are, I think, especially useful maybe during the workshops that we will have in the network meeting. So everybody can take notes collaboratively, and there are some basic tools for highlighting and organizing the content. Okay, apart from that, there is of course tools for also video conferencing. So if you want, you can switch on your webcam. We advise you not to do it in order to save data, but if you have some specific questions and you are talking, then it might be useful for other people to be able to see who's speaking. So at this time you can do this. You can maximize or minimize the size of the different screens. So for instance, if you want to see the slides that are being shared in a bigger format, then you can just reduce these panels so that the presentation will appear bigger. And you can even completely remove the left panel by clicking on this icon here. And so in that case, the whole screen size is now only dedicated to whatever is presented in the tool. Okay. I think that's pretty much it. So just so you know, so BigBlueButton is, I will now remove this window. So BigBlueButton is an open source tool. You can, it's been done primarily for teaching, but we use it for many things. And so you can find more information on their website and see all the features that are available. And especially, they also have some support, some tutorial videos that we already listed also in the tool that's in the webpage that we sent you. So you can find the direct link to this video also on our website in the special room webpage. I think this is all I wanted to talk about. So if you have any questions, I will now stop sharing the screen so we don't have this cascade effect. One last thing is, sorry. How can someone else share their screen? So a question in the chat. So in BigBlueButton, only the presenter can share the screen. So wait, I'll be back with screen sharing. So you can see currently on my screen, I am the presenter. I have this small blue icon on the top left of my icon. And so only the presenter can then share the screen, and this is possible via the bottom right button here. If you want to share your screen, then you need to ask somebody that is a moderator. So moderator are those whose icon is a square. You can ask them to actually make you presenter. Okay? So only moderators can make somebody a presenter, and only people who are presenter can actually share their screen. Okay, so for the private chat, then if you want to speak privately with somebody, you can just find the person you're interested in, click on their icon, and then there is start a private chat. Okay, and so here. Now, only Reinhardt received the message. Any other questions? Oh, so just so you know, so here I'm the presenter, so you can see my icon wherever I'm moving the mouse on the screen, and I can also share here the whole screen with you, so that everybody has access to the tools of BigBlueButton to actually write or do like pretty much anything you want on the screen. Okay, Evelyn also asked whether it is possible to join via phone. So this is indeed possible. I will show the stats thing. So the screen is there. Yes, so you can join by phone, and the way to do it is also written on the web page on our website. So the web page room that you received in the email.
I think the phone number is also always displayed in the public chat on top. If you scroll up in the public chat, then it also displays the phone number. I'm not sure if everyone can see it, but I can see it as a host. Can everyone see it? Yeah, okay, perfect. And then I also have one more question. We've just talked about it before. So sometimes it happens that I'm made a presenter and I want to share my screen, but eventually I get confused because of the many different options, and then I decline to share my screen accidentally. And then to reactivate to share the screen, I think you have to do something in the address of your browser. At least that's for Firefox. Can you maybe briefly comment on that issue?
Yes, sorry, I forgot about this. I will show it again. So I'm taking presenter. I'm starting to share my screen. Okay, hello. So sorry, I think I have a connectivity issue on my side. Jakob, could you actually maybe do the screen sharing? Ah, wait, no, I think it started. Okay, sorry. So you can see here in Firefox on the left of the address bar, you have a set of icons. These are actually the permissions that are allowed for the website. So you can see here that this double rectangle icon is the screen sharing. Okay, here for me it was allowed temporarily. If it happens that you clicked on the wrong button, so you did not allow the screen sharing, then you can click on clear this permission and ask again, so that whenever you will try again to share your screen, this will prompt you the message box of whether you want to allow it or not, and this time you can click allow. And so whenever it is allowed, then you see the icon should be red, whereas if you clicked on not allow, then it should be gray and crossed. Unfortunately, I cannot show you directly because obviously it needs to be allowed on my computer if I want to show it to you. Okay, so that's it for me. Jakob?
Okay, thanks a lot, Tanguy. It's already 11:15. We will have later on some more time for questions and answers, but now I would like to hand over to Evelyn to talk about Slido.
Okay, so
Evelyn, are you taking over?
Yes, I'm taking over. Thank you for the transition. So I will also start sharing my screen. as we just learned by clicking on the icon on the bottom line. And I actually need to see which one I need to share. Okay. So should be coming up. You should now see a window of my screen with the Slido interface showing. And I can, it was the link that was already listed also in the email, but I will just also post it again here in the public chat. So maybe you can just click on this link, and so you will also be invited then to the Slido room that we will also use for our network meeting next week. So maybe just as kind of an overview. So it's a browser-based tool, and what do we use it for? It's basically collecting questions in the audience. And then there are some nice tools and features and that's also why we chose to use it. So you see here we're in a room which is now called MPSN Webinar Digital Tools on the top left. But what you can do maybe in the first step is there's on the right top, there's this little icon. You can click on it and you can say edit my profile. And then you can give yourself a name or a synonym or acronym or whatever you want. So I will just call myself now Evelyn. And I will also put in my Max Planck affiliation so people can maybe during the meeting know where I belong to. So now you can see in the top right that the Slido tool saved some of my information. So maybe, if you have also done it, and what we can see now here in the top row is ask the speaker, and then you have a text box where you can type in. And if you click on it, it's like a Google search window. You can just ask whatever question you need to ask. So maybe something related to this webinar, questions you want to ask, maybe a question to a speaker, or something, whatever is basically on your mind. And so maybe some of you can already ask a question. It doesn't need to be one that makes too much sense, could be just something to try. And you can also then see on the bottom here, it already saves the author of the question. So people will see who wrote it. And I can just saw there has been something new by Tanguy here in the bottom. Does this work? And what you can also see, you can filter by different characteristics. So you can either filter by popular or recent. If I go to recent, it's by time. So it's a chronological order, listing all the different questions. And maybe, so does it work? It works, Tanguy. And then for Reinhard, do I have to register for Slido? No, you don't. So for using it like this, you don't need to register. You just need to join a room as we just did. If you want to host a room, Jakob, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you can create a free account and then you can host rooms. And so another great thing about it is it's not only a chronological listing that you can have, but you can also list it by popular. And then you can see here by those like items, it's actually a counter of likes. So for example, if I now actually like Reinhard's question because I have the same, I just click on it and I don't need to put the same question, and I can see people do it also. And what should actually happen now is that, maybe I can refresh the page. Yeah, so the most popular questions are then listed on top. And so imagine doing a panel discussion or something, then normally how it would go is that you come up with the most popular questions and you see them, and you don't need to ask them many times, but you already kind of get a feeling what the audience wants to know. So we also have a last question here, the last one on the bottom from an anonymous person. Can anyone be the host, or do I have to register for it? So again, as I said, I think you need to create a free account first, and then you can be a host of any room. Maybe Jakob, do you want to quickly say something about the registration?
Yes, sure. I mean, of course, as a simple user, in order to participate, to post questions, you obviously don't have to register. And as we see, you even don't have to give any personal details. So Anonymous could ask the question without typing any name or giving any other references. And I actually don't exactly understand the question of anonymous. So if you want to read out the questions loud, if you mean this as a host, then of course you don't have to register. In order to set up a Slido, in order to set up a Slido session, you have to register, obviously. For example, if I don't know who Anonymous is, I could also appoint Anonymous to be kind of the host of this BigBlueButton session and then read aloud the question. That's the point. So,
and maybe just as a final remark, so it should really serve as a background tool to gather the questions that interest the audience in whatever way, whether it's a technical thing or more content related, for example, during a lecture or a panel discussion. Okay. And if you have any questions, of course, also during this webinar, please feel free to either use the chat in BigBlueButton or also Slido. I hope to track both. Okay, and I think that's it for Slido from my side.
Maybe just one quick remark. So the reason why we're also using Slido and not only the BigBlueButton chat is, well, first of all, it has more features. It's not just a chat. But also because some of the conferences will be streamed on YouTube, and so we don't really have the chat of BigBlueButton, obviously.
Okay, great. So if you have further questions, just let us know, and I would also then hand over to Jakob for the next part.
Okay, yeah, thanks a lot, Evelyn. And we are perfectly in time. Nevertheless, we have to move on. So I will share now my screen and I will briefly talk on the registration of the GWDG. And give me a second. Yes. So actually, you should be able to see my screen now. And the GWDG is the so-called Gesellschaft für wissenschaftliche Datenverarbeitung Göttingen, Society for Scientific Data Management Göttingen. As far as I'm informed, the GWDG is a common company of the University of Göttingen and the Max Planck Society. And as such, all members, all employees, all affiliates of the University of Göttingen and also of the Max Planck Society can use the services of the GWDG. I will now switch briefly the window in my browser. Here you should be able now to see our sustainability wiki. I will give an introduction to our sustainability wiki later on. Just as a reference, here in our wiki, we list certain descriptions and functions of the GWDG we want to use in our sustainability network. And here we can see a very general article on the GWDG and some features. So obviously we want to use BigBlueButton just right now. Currently there's no description yet on BigBlueButton. That this will follow. Then ownCloud, Rocket.Chat, Wiki, mailing list. So these are mainly also the features we are going to talk about it today. For some of the features, you don't have to register with the GWDG. For some others, you have to register. And as a general measure, we just propose that you register for the GWDG in general. Actually, many of some of the Max Planck institutes are already connected to the GWDG. I think it should appear if I click here on GWDG. Yeah. So some of the institutes, they are directly connected with the GWDG, and actually you don't have to register with the GWDG. Here you can find a list of all the institutes that are directly connected to the GWDG, and you can use your credentials.
Yeah, can you
yes?
maybe quickly check your microphone? There are some noises, and it's also been reported in the chat.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, maybe if it's your network, could you reduce your video quality for your webcam, just in case it's some network issue?
Okay, maybe I just switch off my camera because so 1, 2, 3. This should be. Maybe I just give me a second. I'll take the microphone closer to my voice. So is this better now? Can someone briefly give me a hint? Okay, then let's continue. And actually, if you want to register for the GWDG, it's actually quite simple. It's not as complicated as I pointed out. You just go on, I'll switch to the English page. Sorry, my internet is somehow slow. Okay, I'm already logged in. I'm really sorry. You click here on GWDG registration, as shown in our wiki. And since I'm already logged in, I think I have to log out first. I hope that this works. Yeah, so now you can, under this link, which you find also in our wiki, you can register, and actually the system will find out whether you belong to an already connected institute and therefore can use your existing credentials, or whether you have to register as a new member. And if you, once you're registered, you can log in, and let's have a very brief look on the on your account information. So if you go onto the account information on the upper top, you find my account. And here you can find various information. One information which will be important for other services is the username. So in some services, you can log in using your email address that's registered to the GWDG, or you have to use this username. This varies from service to service. And actually, you can see some other nice things. For example, you can subscribe to a Zoom account. So for example, we have a Zoom account here with our GWDG account of the Sustainability Network, and there's a Zoom license available to all members of the Max Planck Society. If you go up here on the service menu, you find a list of
I increase the view of all the services. And actually, we don't use all the services listed here for the Max Planck Sustainability Network. We use the ownCloud, we use Rocket.Chat, we use mailing lists, and so on. And we have listed the respective services we use on our wiki, and we will present some of them in today's meeting. So this is it concerning the registration with GWDG. Any specific questions?
Jacob, you have a question in the chat.
Sorry, yeah. So normally it should be activated directly. I mean, if you belong to the so-called connected institutes, you can use it right away. If you have to register, then you will receive an automated email and you should be able to use it right away. You can actually also apply for so-called function accounts. This is like a non-personal account. Let's say if you want to have an account for a specific project, then you can also register for a so-called function account, and then normally you get confirmation by email, by post mail, by normal mail. So if we don't have any further questions, there are no questions on Slido. I think there are no further questions here in the BigBlueButton chat. Then I would like to hand back to Tanguy for Rocket.Chat.
Yes, thank Jacob. Sorry, just sharing my webcam. Okay. So hi again. I'm just going to show you a bit now one of the specific tools that we use from the GWDG. Sorry, I just need to take the presenter again to be able to share my screen. Okay. All right. So as Jakob showed you, we have our sustainability wiki. And so in there, you have the Max Planck Sustainability Network page. And on this page, you have also a list of first steps for new users. And this includes Rocket.Chat. So Rocket.Chat is a tool for collaboration and team management. So it's also open source and is there is one instance hosted by the GWDG, which we're using. So once you're registered to the GWDG, then you can just click here and go in the wiki to our Rocket.Chat page. So it also tells you that you need first to register, and then that you can directly log into the GWDG chat, so the Rocket.Chat instance. So if you click on the link, then you arrive on this login web page. So I will log in. So you can use here you can use directly your normal GWDG credentials, which are so your email address and whatever your password is. You log in, and then you arrive on the home screen of the GWDG Rocket.Chat instance. So it looks like this. You have an icon with your profile where you can edit your status and your account, your preferences. And what's most important is that you have a list of the specific discussions and channels and private groups in which you are currently that you joined so far. So to join the Rocket.Chat specific channel, you can just browse and search for them in the directory of the Wiki. So they of course have a lot of channels, but there is a search function. And so in our case, there are two keywords that you need to remember. So the Max Planck Sustainability Network, MPSN, where you have the public channels that we made for the meeting 2020. So for instance, the garden, okay, where you have like the different users that have logged in. And also the other important public channels are marked under sustainability. And here you have the sustainability wiki and the welcome sustainability, where we actually invite you to go if you want to join the private group sustainability.mpg. And here, whenever we see that somebody joined on the public welcome sustainability channel, we invite them to the private group where all the important information is. So just one thing, I've been showing you how to use it from the browser currently, but there is also an app that you can use either on the browser, tablet, or phone. So if you go to the website of Rocket.Chat and to install, you can just download whatever desktop is relevant for you, or it's also available for phones. And in that case, I will show you. It looks pretty much exactly the same. I will just share the app with you this time. Okay. So this is, as you can see, this is from the app, and it looks pretty much exactly the same. It's just that you don't have to always have this specific tab with Rocket.Chat opened. Now it is directly visible from your in a separate application. Okay. So are there any questions so far? Okay, so I will now come into details as to how Rocket.Chat is organized and works. So the basic thing that I showed you was first the public channels. So channels are just like the equivalent of a room that is open there for everybody to see. So it's kind of entry points where users can just search for within the directory and then enter. So this is usually very general. And then if you want to discuss a specific point within a channel, you can create a discussion. So for instance, we have here the welcome sustainability MPG, where we invite users to go and tell us that they want to join the private group. And within this channel, I also created a discussion that is specific for people that are in Tübingen and that want to join the specific group for the Tübingen Sustainability Group. So discussions are subparts, like specialized parts of channels or groups. And the difference between a channel and a private group is just who is able to see it. So private groups are not listed directly within the repository. You can see that if I type sustainability, even though the private group is called sustainability-mpg, it does not appear there because private groups are not listed. Okay, sorry, I'm just checking what I said and what I didn't say yet. So let's have a look at how to interact on Rocket.Chat. So when you reach a channel or a discussion or anything, you can see the posts that have been posted so far, and they are posted in inverse chronological order. So the newest ones are at the bottom. So I can write here a test message. Okay, and it will be posted there directly. Then people can either react to this message by clicking on the reaction icon that happens here, or reply in a thread. So here, the advantage of the reply is that it avoids, it takes less space, and you can then see the whole discussion directly within a thread here, and it makes discussions easier to follow in some cases. Okay, so within Rocket.Chat, sometimes there is a lot of information that has been posted. So there is a search tool that you can use. So maybe I'll show you on the sustainability.mpg. So for instance, in our sustainability group, we have made several sub-discussions. So if you want to look for a specific discussion that you're interested in, you can just type it and it will give you the relevant message. So for instance, if you're interested in mobility, you can just do that. One small quirk of Rocket.Chat is that you need to type the whole word. So if I just type mobility without the Y, it doesn't give any results. So you need to type the whole word. Apart from the search tool, you can also directly show like discussions and threads in there. So here there are no threads, but if I come back to the garden and look for the threads, you can see the one that is associated to the test message that I posted. And finally, like messages that are posted within the discussion are sometimes more or less important. And for very important message that we want users to be able to find again rapidly, we can pin them. So this is done by clicking on the option menu here, sorry, where is it? I'm not an administrator there, so I cannot do it, but I can do it here. So it's the button pin unpin to like stick a message as important, and you can see all pinned messages directly there. So of course, in the central discussions, all messages are important, so it's not as easy. But for instance, in other channels, there are few or sometimes maybe zero pin messages, and it allows you to see quickly what's been shared. And you can also find the files that have been shared within a discussion. Sorry, looking at the chat again. Is there other questions? Not yet. So last thing that I want to show you. Here is everything related to public discussions, but you can also discuss privately with people on Rocket.Chat. So for instance, if I want to discuss with Evelyn, so I click on her icon, I see her profile, and then there is this conversation icon. I click on it, and then I join a private discussion with Evelyn, listed as direct messages that appears at the bottom of my left column. And so I can just I can just now discuss specifically with Evelyn about whatever topic. Any questions about Rocket.Chat? Sorry, I'm just checking also that I did not forget anything that I wanted to talk about. Yeah, so maybe last thing that I forgot to mention is that you can also within the discussion, if you want to raise the attention of a specific person, you can use the @ tool. So for instance, if I want to notify Jakob, I can just type @Jakob or Gishvai here, which is his pseudo, and whatever, and this will just notify him personally. And you can also try to notify every member that is currently active in the channel by using @here. And the last one is @all, that notifies everybody, but try to use this one as little as possible, because it really more or less spams everybody. Yeah, I think that's it for me.
Okay, thank you very much, Tanguy. Any questions? Yes, there's this question of MR. So do I have already an account on Rocket.Chat when I have a GWDG account? Yes, you do have a Rocket.Chat account as soon as you have a GWDG account, but it's a very important question. You can only be found by others after you have logged in for the very first time. So if you have never used Rocket.Chat, then others won't be able to message to you or to add you to any channel. So you have to join once for a first time, and then you can be found on Rocket.Chat. Also, the username is very confusing sometimes. For some people, it's like the first name dot last name. For some people, like for me, it's just the first letter of my first name and then the first 6 letters of the last name. You can look this up in your GWDG account settings. Okay. You can actually also find this information on our wiki. I can show this in a second. And now we come back. We are really good in time, just 4 minutes of delay. And now I will hand over to Evelyn to give a short introduction into ownCloud.
Okay, so I will talk about the ownCloud and OnlyOffice. And they are both also GWDG services. So along with the account you just created, you can also then use the tools I'm going to present. And again, what is the aim or the purpose of those? It's an open source cloud collaboration tool. So you can store data, you can share data, or documents or presentations, and you can also collaboratively work on them together. So I will again also share my screen. Just a second. Sorry, it's a little bit confusing with everything open. Aha. So now I have actually this issue that I'm not allowed to share. Okay, so I'm actually not so sure how I can re-enable it. That never happened to me.
Are you using Firefox?
Yeah.
So in the address bar on the left, you have this series of icons. If you click on them, then you see a button with the permissions. Then you look for share the screen, which is 2 rectangles that overlap.
Perfect. Got it. Thank you. Okay, so you should now see a new tab. And how can I actually connect to the ownCloud on the web again? So it's browser based. And I just go to ownCloud.gwdg.de. And again, we are required to give our login details. So I will just use my personal account here with my password. Okay, this didn't work. All right, and now you can see a lot of personal stuff in my ownCloud. That's actually not so interesting, but what I wanted to show you is the Max Planck Sustainability Net ownCloud. So just pretend we didn't see what happened before. So it's a subfolder of my ownCloud, and you can maybe already get the idea how you in your personal ownCloud have different folders that have been shared with you. So the idea of our ownCloud is for the Max Planck Sustainability Network is to have like an archive of files and documents somewhere stored, but also of course to work on stuff together. So just to give you some ideas what's been stored here. So for example, we have clusters. If I just click on it now, it's like a folder structure in the web browser. And I can see that here there are subfolders, and they are actually the topics of our catalog of recommendation subchapters, which maybe some of you know. So there's different things in here, and I won't go into detail now, but you can already see those we want to share and work collaboratively on those chapters together. But then there are also some more, let's say, general documents already on this kind of level, also more informative on what is in the folder then to come. If I want to go back where I just came from, here on top you can see the folder structure. If I just go back to the Max Planck Sustainability Network one, I'm back in the main part again. For example, here in events, the next folder, we stored a lot of information. So for example, in the network meetings, I can just click here. And if I go to the current year, I can find some information on the network meeting that's coming up next week. So for example, a participant list has been stored here, and some organizational stuff, but then also, for example, a PowerPoint template for a presentation. If I now go on this PowerPoint, for example, you will already see that it was just written here, OnlyOffice is loading. So OnlyOffice is the equivalent to Microsoft Office, but in this open source environment and here in the browser. And it basically is quite similar to PowerPoint or other presentation softwares. And you can just edit your slides here. And the nice thing is you can do it, and there are lots of tools, so it's quite sufficient, but the really nice thing is you can collaboratively do so. So if other people would now want to work on it together, they could, and we will try it later. But for now, I will just go back to show you a little bit more the structure of our documentation. So we also have some information from the institutes and their local measures that have been gathered here. We have information on the more legal aspects coming from the government, logos and names, files and discussions and background information. And yeah, we won't go through all of this, but there's actually a lot. What's also maybe interesting is the folder with presentations. If I click on it, okay, there are only 3 now, but again, it's like a template that can be used also to give presentations in the name of the network. And then in publications, if we check it, there's all the different mentions of the network and that have been around in the last years. And you can see it's quite a lot already. All right. Okay, maybe for now, as an overview, I think that's enough. So there's a lot to explore and a lot of documents around. And the idea is to have it really accessible to the whole network, so people can use the logos, the templates, presentations, and so on. So the question, of course, is now how to get access to this cloud. Once you have a GWDG account, you can simply request access to this folder structure by sending an email to the network. Okay, and what I would like to do now is, well, let's pretend or let's assume not all of us now have a GWDG account already, and I cannot add you all and give share to this folder. What I will do is now I will just create a new folder in events. Let's say I will go to other events, and I will just create here with the plus. You can always create new things. So you can either upload data that you already have, or you can create new things. And I will just create a new folder. Right, with the webinar. Okay. Maybe one thing also, it's always nice to stick to the existing structure of a folder. So here I saw, okay, it's named like this with the date and then the name. So I just did it accordingly. And I will now share this folder with you. And to do this, I will go to this email here, or this button, this share button. And the email that you see here is the one from the person owning the folder. So this is at the moment Jakob. And if I click on this, then you see the right menu popping up, and you have this sharing submenu. And here you could now, for user and groups, you could now type in the GWDG email addresses that you know of your colleagues you want to add. Or what you can also do is to create a public link. So for example, people not having a GWDG account, or you want to maybe just publicly make something available. So I will create a public link here. And I can now also enable different permission rights. And what I will do now is to do download, view, and edit, which is basically the most open the most liberal form of administration rights. And I will just click share. And then I can see here now on the right, it created a public link. And I will copy it to my clipboard and send it in the public chat in BigBlueButton. And I invite you to all now go to this document, or to this link, first of all. And in the meantime, or maybe I will wait for a moment. So you should now be able to access this folder in your browser. If you cannot access it, please let us know. And it should be an empty folder. And now what I want to do is I want to make something with you. I want to set up a shared document. So I will again go to this plus, and I will now add a document, just a Word document, and I will call it webinar test. And it pops up, and it automatically also opens already. And I invite you all to also go into this document. And I can already track whether people are joining or not. So if I look here on the bottom right, there's my account name, and then below I can see the number of people that are already in this document. So we're 5 people, 6, and I can also see the names the names are listed as emails or being anonymous if there is no GWDG account. And you can already see people are writing, very nice. And maybe if one of you is writing again, you can also see in different colors the names of people writing and doing stuff. A little thing here to be noted is that it's a shared document, and now as a live share, I can kind of see who's writing what. But if we now would leave and I would check again the document, it would just look like a normal document that I wrote. So to know who is writing what, I can also go to this collaboration button here on the top, and I can enable track changes. You might probably be familiar with it. And if I now write things, this appears in a different kind of style. Okay. And maybe some of you can also try this out. And this is quite important if you're working on a document, for example, together, and you just want to make suggestions to edit, or you just want to mark what is actually new in the document. Great. So, and another thing is you can also add comments. So maybe you don't want to add something in the text, but you want to say something in general. So I will now mark the part of the text that I want to make a comment on. So this wonderful here now is marked, and I will make a comment on the top, and I can just say whatever my question is. I don't know whether you can already see it, or if I just go to add now, you then will see also on your screen, independent of BigBlueButton, that something happened there. And to enable all the different comments, also on the left, you have a sub-menu where you can look a little bit further on the comments. Okay, so I will keep it for now. Very nice. Okay, I think the main idea is somehow clear. So yeah, again, we are, for example, working for our collaborative documents, we're working exactly with this tool. What is worth mentioning, though, is as we're now 13 people in this document, things can get quite messy quickly. And sometimes also the ownCloud is a little bit overwhelmed with many people working together. So it's always a little bit a matter of, keeping the right version somehow safe and working together. So ideally also you wouldn't maybe have 12 people working in the same document at the same time. Okay, if I now go back to my folder, I can either do it by going back in the browser, or I click on this folder on the top right, then it goes to the file location where it's stored. And great, I can already see people have tested this out. This is very nice. And again, just to know, so you can also add Excel sheets or spreadsheets and presentation slides as a different format. Okay, I haven't checked if there are any questions. I will just check. Okay. All right. Okay, I have a wrong date. That's okay. I can go back to where the folder is listed. So I go back on the top, and I can just click on those points here on the right. So maybe also before, you can already see here's a different symbol now popping up, which means on those chains link means that there is a public link that has been shared, and it also appears on the folder itself. Okay, so if I want to rename the folder, I just go to the three dots and I go to rename, and I can just do it. All right. Thank you for noting. Great. Are there any questions or anything that questions to the ownCloud, whether it's possible? Okay. Yeah, with a look onto the clock, maybe we can also go to the next tool to have a look at the wiki. So whenever you have questions, also just leave them or keep them for the Q&A in a bit. Okay, and well, with this, I would like to then transfer, I think, to Jakob to talk about the wiki.
Thank you very much, Evelyn. I think Felix still has a question for ownCloud. Felix Bosco asks, do similar tools to Google Form exist that automatically write into a spreadsheet? A very good question. Evelyn, do you know?
Yes, I can maybe just again share my screen. So if we go again to the webinar folder, I can again with the plus go to spreadsheet. And again, I will just create a new one. And if I understand the question correctly, so this somehow looks like, well, it's a spreadsheet form.
I think it refers to Google Forms. And as far as I know, in Google Docs, in OnCloud, there's nothing like Google Forms or like a form tool, but actually the GWDG offers also another tool, which is called Lime Survey, which we also used for the registration. And this is very similar to Google Forms. You can set up like a survey, a registration form, and the entries, the data, I think will be also be stored in a table format like Excel, and you can download it as Excel, I think. You know more about Lime Survey.
Yeah, so Lime Survey is used, again, for different purposes, but also for studies or registrations or surveys within the Max Planck Society. And again, you have you have an interface which is browser based, and you can just set up your whatever form or survey you want to set up, and then you can download the backend data as any file type you want. So anything from CSV, PDF, Excel, or whatever. Yeah. And it's also linked to the GWDG account. So once you are registered there, you can also use Lime Survey. With one additional step, you also need to register to Lime Survey, but it's linked to the GWDG account.
Yeah, maybe we will write also a short entry on this on the wiki, but it won't be content of today's webinar.
Yeah.
I will have my camera switched off because somehow I have reduced internet connectivity. So I will just keep the microphone on and camera off. I hope this is okay. Maybe I would like to add one more thing to OnCloud. I will share my screen. So Evelyn had shared the content of a specific folder with us via link, and we were able to see the content, download it, and edit it. But there are some more features which are accessible if you really log into OnCloud and if you have direct access to OnCloud. I will now switch the windows. And now I'm actually logged in, not via the link, but as a user. You can see in the upper right, I'm logged in as with our function account, info@susnet. And for example, Andy Weiss from the Max Planck Institute in Garching, he just sent me a request by email to grant him access to our archive. And now I actually will share the entire folder with him. And I do this via this also via this share symbol. And I will go here on users. So before, Evelyn used public links. And if you go on user groups, you can actually copy paste or type in any email. And now I used the email of Andy Weiss, and the system should suggest me two options. Please always use the user. The federal thing doesn't work, so I use user. And now I have shared the entire archive with Andy, and here I can actually decide what he can do. So for example, I want to allow him to edit, to create, change things, but I don't want to allow Andy to delete or to reshare things. Yeah. So he has access, but he's not, for example, not able to reshare things. And what is the benefit of accessing the OnCloud by as a registered user? You just have much more functions. For example, one thing I would like to add, if we go to the documents we just created, that was in events, other events, 2020, webinar. And for example, we had this document webinar test. And if I click now on the three dots, I have much more options. I also have details. And what's nice here is, for example, what's very important is versions. So for example, if we would work on this document for several days, we would have here several different versions of the document, and you could access a document, the status of a document of 2 days ago. Yeah. So right now it's like there's no other versions available since we just created this document. But if it would be an older document, we would see several versions, and you can go back to an earlier version. You can actually also connect OnCloud via a desktop client with your computer. Just for advanced users, you will find the information if you go into the settings of your user account and just take some time. And then on the lower bottom, you see links to apps with which you can connect the OnCloud with your desktop. And then you can actually synchronize all documents with your desktop. I don't want to go further into the details here. This might be subject for another webinar because this is very powerful, but also very complex. Maybe one, before we continue to the wiki, maybe one general, or maybe first questions to these very last aspects of OnCloud. If not, then I would just come to the last session to the wiki. But before that, I would like to comment briefly on some general aspects why we use actually GWDG. There are many different collaboration tools. You know, Dropbox, you know, Google Drive, there is the OneDrive service by Microsoft. The thing is that the GWDG is an institution within the Max Planck Society. It already exists with a lot of employees, with a lot of financial resources, with a lot of expertise. And so we would like to make use of this existing infrastructure of these resources which are available to the Max Planck Society. Then second thing is that all the resources are stored on servers of the GWDG. Some people are very careful about where they store the data and they don't like to use Google or Dropbox. Some people are less sensible on this issue, but we decided that we want to use or to follow this strategy to have the data on our own server. Then thirdly, all the apps or most of the apps and services which are used and installed by the GWDG are open source, and as a Max Planck Society, as a Max Planck Sustainability Network, we also support the open source idea. And these are the reasons why we actually want to use these services, and I think the GWDG does a really good job and offers many different tools. They might seem a little bit complicated on first sight, but once you get started, you can see that they're really, really powerful. So now I would like to come to the very last aspect, and that's our sustainability wiki. So maybe you remember we had wiki within the team rooms of the intranet of the Max Planck Society, but we decided to switch to an external wiki. This wiki is actually also hosted by the GWDG and therefore stored on the servers of the GWDG. But the idea was to make this wiki more open. Within the Max Planck Sustainability Network, we discuss and investigate options, ways how we can make research more sustainable. This is an issue which is not only of concern to scientists and colleagues within the Max Planck Society, but also to scientists in other research organizations and universities. And often we have similar or even the same issues, the same problems, and maybe the same ideas. So we would like to share our thoughts, our ideas, issues, manuals whatsoever with scientists in institutions worldwide. That's why we started the Sustainability and Science Wiki. of course, many of the sustainability aspects mentioned in this wiki could also refer to institutions outside research and science, but we said to ourselves, the science community is the community with which we have contact, and therefore we would like to share the content and the ideas with the scientific community worldwide. So you can actually find the wiki if you, I just post the link here. It's called sustainability.wiki.gwdg.de, and yeah, you can just read maybe by yourself through it, but most important is that most important contents for now are an overview of similar initiatives for sustainability in science. So it's not a complete list, it's just the initiatives which are known to us and for which we found time to put them onto our wiki. You have some international movements, we have initiatives in France, in Germany, Netherlands, Switzerland, UK, whatever. So if I go back, we have also different topics. These are the topics we want to share commonly with all the other initiatives. For example, if we go into mobility, yeah, you can see a list of entries of items here. And for example, we have set up an overview of different conference tools which are suitable for the use in science, and we compared them. This might be quite useful, especially during Corona pandemic. And for example, we have also an entry on what to think of if you want to organize a virtual conference. And these are all aspects which are not only important for the Max Planck Society, but for colleagues also worldwide. So this is an entry which we wrote, but it could be also useful, for example, for the colleagues in France. That's why we made it public via the wiki. So then next, we